Good morning. Hoping everyone's having a lovely weekend. Welcome to another edition of Reviews by yours truly, R. Adrianus. Like I mentioned in the last sit-downs video, we're going to be doing some reviews for comic books and for the film Carrie, which just came out a week ago. So let's just get right to it. The comic book that I chose for this review, it's now collected in a trade paperback, but it was fairly popular earlier in this year and last year when it was released. Excuse me. Oh yeah, I have kind of like a pyramid head thing going on here. Sorry about that, guys. But yeah, the comic book I'm talking about is Punisher Warzone by Ruka and D. Giandomenico. Uh, it was a 5 issue short about Punisher and how his associate Sergeant Cole Alves, she's going to be put on trial for the murder of these police officers, and Punisher is essentially letting her take the rap for it. When in reality, it should be him who's put on trial. I mean, they didn't really kill the police officers, but still, it's just yeah. Actually, no, I think they did kill the police officer. I don't know. Irrelevant. That's one of the things I actually want to talk about in this review. So, yeah, Punisher Warzone. It's basically about the Avengers going after Frank Castle, the Punisher, and trying to bring him to justice, either capturing him, making him go on trial, or to try to convince him to go on trial of his own volition, take the blame for the actions that he's done. Don't let his partner do it for him. She's a very honorable soldier. She was a Marine, but it's just they want him to observe some sense of honor. One just from the get go, my major issue not funny. My major problem with this story is some of the Avengers. I think Ruka is not giving them their fair share, or should I say, he's treating them very poorly. Namely Thor and Iron Man. When it comes to the Avengers trying to capture the Punisher, it almost seems like Ruka's toning down the abilities of the Avengers. I mean, you gotta figure, like, yes, the Punisher, he is a very apt anti-hero. He's a very apt, soldier. He's very capable physically, intellectually. He's been in war. He knows tactics. He's done everything. He's very prepared. But these are the Avengers we're talking about. I mean, these are people who've taken on, cosmic entities. We're gonna switch up our camera a little bit. Yeah, these are people who have taken on cosmic entities, and they've, fought giants, and they've fought supervillains that have threatened the world. I mean, this is just one dude with guns. That's what it comes down to. I don't want to knock the Punisher in any way. The Punisher can be very compelling in certain ways, but he's more of an earthy character. That's one of the things that I do like about the Punisher. I'm not saying that I like him very much as a character, but yeah, if there is something to like, he's very earthy. He's very down. He's very down to the core of the Marvel universe. Like the grit. And so to think that Thor and Iron Man would have a hard time capturing him is a little hard to believe. Even Spider-Man tries to capture him and kind of toys around, and that really bugged me because me, I'm a big Spider-Man fan. He's like kind of toying with him, and it's like, dude, like, we know that you can capture him, just knock him out and take him in. Like, that would have been the story right there. But Spider-Man had to kind of goof off and get stunned by a flash grenade, so it's just like, oh great. Yeah, the 5 issues are essentially focal points for each Avenger. So the first issue was Spider-Man, the second issue was Black Widow, excuse me. The third issue was Thor, and the fourth issue was like kind of with Wolverine, and then the fifth issue was with everybody. Uh, and I don't know, and then also the characters, like I mentioned, they weren't treated very well. Iron Man, he's treated like such a dunce. Like, he's trying to, they really push the arrogance issue with Iron Man, which I understand is very easy to use, but it's also a very cheap technique because Iron Man does have other traits about him. I don't like Iron Man that much either, but I give credit where credit's due, and it'd be a cold day in hell before Iron Man wouldn't be able to detect if Punisher would be going into his base or something. Spoiler alert, kind of. Yeah, it was an intriguing story. You kind of expect more. I mean it's very simple. I mean even at one point in the very beginning of the story, Captain America says, that would be overkill if we all went after him, and it's very true. It would be overkill. So why is it so difficult for them to get him? Like, I mean Black Widow let him go. Basically a series of these characters letting him go, or being tricked by the silliest of techniques, like things that they could have avoided so easily, but unfortunately, that was Punisher Warzone. So, um, read it at your own peril. It's not that it's bad. If you like Punisher, then it's one of those like hell yeah, Punisher, stick it to them. But if you are more realistic, you kind of observe everybody, not just for your own characters. It still lacks, and that's unfortunate to say. I was looking forward to reading this because it looked very intriguing. The cover art is very cool, but the cover art, like a lot of comic book art, front cover art, it's very misleading. I think the most accurate of these is probably the Iron Man one. If you guys can see it right there, not too much glare. The one with like the bullet dents. That one was probably the most accurate, but everything else was like nonsense. And then yeah, and then when it comes down to the crescendo of the story, the way they actually captured the Punisher, it it belittles everything that happened in the story. So those are my final thoughts on Punisher Warzone. But let's move on to our next subject, which is Carrie, the film Carrie, based on the book by Stephen King, as you all probably know, because Carrie was made into a movie several years ago, actually, in the 70s, starring Sissy Spacek. But now it's starring Hit Girl. You all know Hit Girl, right, from the Kick-Ass movies? And then also Julianne Moore as Carrie's mother. Um, just kind of a brief assessment of Carrie. You can't really say much about the film. It is entertaining. It is not a bad film. It does stay true to the core material. If you think about the book and the original movie, it's very true to it. Obviously, because we live in a modern age of cinematic technology, the movie looks a lot better as far as using the showing the telekinesis, showing what Carrie can do, visual effects that make her look more menacing. That's always great. Excuse me, I'm sorry. The movie does have a good pacing, very much like the way the original movie did. Like he kind of gives that gradual, upping the discomfort because you know that something's gonna happen. Like just eventually. You got these bitch characters who are gonna try to get at Carrie. Just for being the introvert, the poor, religious, battered young lady that she is, and it's really sad. If you've seen the first movie, you know what's coming. They didn't really change much, and that's kind of ultimately Carrie's largest strength and also its greatest weakness is that it is almost exactly like the first film, which is great because the first film is an excellent movie. Like I mentioned, entertaining. Great concept. We're gonna switch again. I feel bad. I need to get like a proper camera stand for you folks. I feel like I'm not giving you your fair due. I want to get some good effects here. But back to Carrie. Yeah, it's almost exactly the same. It's an entertaining first film. So in this iteration, it's the exact same thing. But because of that, like I said, it's also its greatest weakness. Because they haven't really torn away from the core material, in any compelling fashion. It's just the same. It's the same thing exactly. So if I actually spoke about the film with a friend of mine, and he asked me, so is there any incentive to watch this film or the original? I said, unfortunately, no. You could watch either film, and you'd still get the exact same feeling. You'd get the exact same experience, which is good and bad because you could switch off eventually if someone was just like, "Hey, let's watch Carrie." Okay, which one are you gonna want to watch? Because it doesn't really matter. You're not gonna be able to. You're not gonna have to watch the two Carries to get different effects. It's just kind of like a switcheroo. Like, whatever. The production team, the creators of this new film, they did do something different at the end of the film. I won't spoil it for anybody, but it does kind of leave the concept of Carrie a little bit more open, I suppose. But yeah, you're gonna have to go watch it to see. I won't spoil it for anybody, since it's still a reasonably new film. But yeah, Carrie, it was good. Major drawback and greatest positive was that it's too much like the first film. But that's not good. That's not bad. It's just kind of in the middle. So go see it if you want. If you got some extra cash to go check out this new version of Carrie, like I said, it's a good movie. So yeah, I think it's worth watching. But hope you guys have enjoyed this series of reviews for Punisher Warzone and Carrie, which is out in theaters right now. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We'll be doing another sit downs this week. I haven't decided what it'll be about yet, but yeah, we'll see. We shall see. Maybe it's probably gonna be Halloween oriented, something like that. I'll see how I can kind of bring that back to the world of writing and literature and all this other awesome stuff, because Halloween is awesome and we need more Halloween things. So Halloween things, yes. But hope you enjoyed, guys. We'll be seeing you soon. Peace and love.